Your voice is what connects you to others in life, love, and beyond. And it's worthwhile and good to spend time developing it so it is strong, healthy, and capable of expressing yourself. People who sing more are more likely to be happy, and you can sing. In the same way that you can develop strength and coordination in your muscles to learn how to dance, you can develop strength and coordination in your throat to learn how to sing. The type of singing that allows you to express even small, subtle emotions inside yourself beautifully. Now, I am no Yoda. I'm just a fellow journeyer on this adventure of expressing ourselves with music. But I want to share some of the things that I've learned along the way to help you develop a voice that you are proud of. And we're starting this off by answering the question, can anyone learn how to sing? Now, unless you've got your own brand of Simon Cowell in your life, you've probably never been explicitly told you can't sing.
That was terrible. I mean, seriously terrible.
Yet you are thoroughly convinced of this fact. That's probably why you're watching this video. It's the subtle things we pick up along the way while others listen to us sing or we listen to ourselves that cause this. Maybe you were never selected for a solo, or maybe your voice cracks when you sing, or it lacks the resonance, or it sounds strained, or you just know it's off pitch. It's not coming out the way that you want it to. To you, these all mean, I'm not good, I really can't sing, and then you didn't. I want to share with you a different perspective on it. This is from Louise M. Pascal. Let me quote her. To quote Louise M. Pascal, in Western music, we must consider a singer 1, someone who sings solos, 2, someone who leads songs, and 3, someone who can sing in tune. She says that in Western cultures, we value performance, perfection, and virtuosity, whereas in other cultures, such as Barbados and African music, among others, singing emphasizes process and participation, and stresses social values and spontaneous singing. The primary purpose is enjoyment. In these cultures, everyone sings, and she suggests that we should adopt both values, to strive to create a culture where every voice is accepted while still teaching techniques that lead to vocal control. And to you, dear singer, who is afraid of your voice, I would say that singing is just as universal in humans as it is in birds. All birds have their calls, they are all different from each other, and some are really quite beautiful. But one of the coolest things I've learned from all of this research I've done is that birds have to learn how to sing as well. So the goal of this series isn't to make you win the next American Idol. I don't have the authority to tell you how to do that. I would be one of those bad auditions. My mom has straight up told me that I should not go and audition. Instead, my goal with this is to lay down a practical approach that you can follow for free with the tools that you have in front of you to develop your voice into something that you are proud of. And we're starting today by addressing the fears around your voice. Now, one of the common things is that you're worried that you're tone deaf. And here, let's test this really quick. Is this one note or two notes? Is this one note or two notes? You can tell the difference between one note and two notes, you're not tone deaf. But even if you are, with the use of visual tuners nowadays that work on your phone, you can develop a voice that you are still proud of. Here's an example of a girl who lost her hearing at age 18 and went on to develop her singing ability using visual tuners.
So you're deaf?
Yes, I lost all my hearing when I was 18 years old.
You were singing before you lost your hearing?
Yeah, I've been singing since I was 4. So I left music after I lost my hearing and then figured out how to get back into singing with muscle memory, using visual tuners and trusting my pitch. If I would try, if I would try.
For some reason, our culture does not showcase singing development. When we see someone playing the piano professionally, we assume that given a year of effort, we could play the same piece that they're playing no matter how difficult it is, because we recognize that they got there through deliberate effort. Now, I don't know if that would make us professionals, but it would be very good to be able to do so. And we could do the same thing with singing. Yet, when we hear a fantastic singer, we assume that, oh, I could never do that. It's just not for me. And there are many reasons why that is. We'll cover those in a second. But I want to say that singing is just like the piano. It is an instrument that takes effort to perfect. However, the catch that I'm told exists is that you will never sound like your favorite singer or your favorite pop star, because they have a unique voice, and so do you. Eric Arsenault from A Approach says it best when he says,
"We don't curse the violin for not being a trumpet, and vice versa. So, if you have a trumpet of a voice, you can't play it like a violin.
Now, I hear you saying, what about natural singers? I have this friend, and she has always been able to sing, and I guess I haven't been able to do that, so obviously singing's not for me. What about that? Well, this is a great time to bring up the concept of natural singers. How is it that I can work for 2 years and still be outclassed by somebody who has never taken a singing lesson in their life? Now, I don't believe that anyone is born with a special brain or vocal cords that allow them to be a fantastic singer with no work. Instead, I believe that all of the natural singers that you meet were simply given the right feedback at an early age. They were encouraged to sing while they were young. They had social support for singing growing up, and that allowed them to develop an accurate ear for understanding what someone else's voice is doing, as well as automatic, detailed control over their vocal cords. I know many natural singers, but I do not know a single one of them who just discovered one day randomly at a party that they were fantastic at singing. My theory is based on how Eric Anderson proposes perfect pitch is developed in his book Peak. In his explanation, Anderson provides a very compelling case that says that perfect pitch is not something that anyone is genetically gifted with. Instead, it is something that all people are born with, and they retain the ability because of a critical period of development where they're exposed to a complex musical system and they're forced to use that complex musical system. People with tonal languages are more likely to develop perfect pitch, or people who have early musical training are more likely to develop perfect pitch, rather than it being an innate genetic gift. To quote him, in short, perfect pitch is not the gift, but rather the ability to develop perfect pitch is the gift. And as nearly as we can tell, pretty much everyone is born with that gift. There are similar perception examples that will seem trivial to you, but people raised in other cultures struggle with. Think about how easily you can tell the difference between a ba and a va sound, or as easily as you can see the difference between these blue and green squares. If your mother tongue is Spanish, you might struggle with the ba and va difference. Or if you're from the Himba tribe in North Namibia, it'll be a struggle to pick out the difference between these different colored squares. Not every human on Earth can quickly perceive these differences because of the way their brains were shaped by their upbringing. Their sensory organs are working accurately, but the brain is filtering out the differences. In singing, it might be subtly hearing the difference between certain vowel placements and then hearing what's going on in your own voice and how to change that so you can get quicker feedback. I want to finish this tangent up by saying that these differences fall under a soft critical period. With practice and training, you can improve your ability to perceive these differences. It's like being able to hear a subtle guitar backing in a complex musical arrangement. With time and repeated exposure, you can hear something that you didn't notice before. Now, a natural singer's ability is also further muddled because of talking. With talking, we all extensively practice our voice, so we all achieve a baseline ability. But we look at these fantastic singers and we wonder why we aren't as good as them. It's like we're New Yorkers walking to work and wondering why we aren't as fast as Usain Bolt or Eliud Kipchoge. We see that we rightfully fall short. Rather than having their amazing achievements inspire us, we just decide that running or sprinting isn't for us. Although these athletes and singers likely do have natural genetic gifts, they also have a lifetime of training that has helped them achieve this amazing ability. And while we might not be able to beat them, we can still improve our running, sprinting, and singing ability through practice. In short, the difference between a natural singer and a trained singer is like the difference between someone who's born learning English versus someone who learns English as a second language while they're an adult. There's nothing preventing that adult from communicating or even becoming fluent in English with practice, but the way that they get there will be a different, more technical, conscious challenge. So, to conclude, this is the first part in a multi-part series. You can check the link in the description for more videos on this topic. But I'll leave you with this meditation. Violin is often considered the hardest instrument to learn how to play because of the incredible finesse that's required to produce an even palatable sound. Yet even violins have a set tuning. With the voice, there is no set tuning. It's all muscular. However, we don't question when it takes months or even years to achieve an impressive sounding performance on a violin. Yet with the voice, we assume that if we aren't Mariah Carey from day one, it's just not for us. If we were to pick up a violin, we would likely sound terrible. We would recognize that we are beginners though, and see our potential for improvement. And I hope that this video has helped convince you that you can see the same thing for your voice. If you're a beginner, you will produce a lot of awkward, squeaking, cracking sounds, but that is part of the process. And your homework for this first lesson is to find a place where you can feel comfortable doing so. For me, it was my car at first. Now it's my room because I'm more comfortable with my family. But your homework for this lesson is to find that spot for yourself. And it's just a process that you go through. If this didn't convince you that you can learn how to sing, then please watch any one of these hundreds of other videos on YouTube that show singing transformations. And as Justin Snowy says at the end of every one of his lessons, don't let anyone tell you you can't sing. You know that's not true. Continue exploring your unique voice and sharing it with the world. And as always, thanks for getting better.